When I left the Lakers, let me see, that was 2013, I didn't have a jacket. So I did not, literally, I did not own a jacket until I got to Cleveland. Just because I was, always used to being on the West Coast. So I probably got sick about 5 or 6 times just because I was underdressed. But, I'm used to it now. Born and raised Northern California boy. My childhood was fairly easy, but back then the area that we lived in wasn't bad, but it was starting to turn into a pretty rough neighborhood with the gangs and the violence and different things. So my parents actually moved me out of Oakland when I was 12, which probably saved my life. My parents are from Louisiana, born and raised. Both of them are deceased. My older brother CL, he was like my favorite brother because we were the only ones in the house with my parents. So whatever he was doing, I wanted to do. And at a young age, he started taking me to the park and would let me play with him a little bit. And it just really became a thing that I grew to love. So I went to a junior college for 1 year, Ohlone Junior College, which is in Fremont, California. Played there 1 year, and then I went to Skyline Community Junior College in San Francisco. Played there 1 year, and then I went to the University of Hawaii. And I spent a couple years at the University of Hawaii, playing basketball there on a scholarship. And then after that, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I wanted to play basketball. I wasn't sure if I was good enough to play in the NBA. I thought I was, but so I finished school. The NBA had a lockout that year, so I wasn't able to work out for any teams. I didn't get drafted. And then when the lockout ended, the Golden State Warriors invited me to one of their free agent camps. And so that was right there in my backyard. And I was one of 2 guys that played well and got selected to come to Veterans Camp and be part of that. And that was like, I didn't know what I was doing. And I was able to make that team my first year the hard way. And that was a great experience for me. I didn't stay the whole season. I got waived part of the season and I went and played in the CBA, but to be able to play in my hometown my first year in the NBA and put on a jersey and play for the Warriors, which was the team I grew up watching, that was an amazing experience. And I played pretty well, and then there was a bunch of teams in Europe that said, hey, we'd like to offer you a contract. After playing in Europe, I went to Australia and I retired in Australia. I played 3 years down there, played in Melbourne, played in Sydney, and I finished and I retired and I started a training business. 94 Feet a Game was the name of my company, and I did that for 13 years. I trained high school kids, college kids, NBA players, European players. I mean, it was a bona fide basketball business where I was just inundated in training at the highest level and even down to high school. And so I did that for so many years and just really garnished a name and a reputation. And then I took my first coaching job with the Los Angeles Lakers. I always wanted to kind of be recognized as one of the best trainers in basketball. That was my goal. That was what I was striving for. And so the whole mindset for me was, man, well, here's an opportunity to go work with one of the best players to ever play. And that was Kobe Bryant at the time. So for me, that was really the tipping point. I treat all of our guys the same, respect. And I've been able to build relationships with every player I work with just by the work that we do on the floor. It's not more about let's be friends, but it's more about how can I help you become a better basketball player. And I pretty much try to approach all of my relationships with any player. It's all the same to me. I've try to treat all these guys the same, and professionalism. Come and do your job every day. Because as a coach, that's our responsibility. I have to come and do my job every day. So those relationships have really just been built on the work that we do on the floor. As a coach, you can't be afraid to coach those guys. Those guys they'll tell you themselves all the time, they want to be coached. They want to be pushed. And I think as a coach, if we're not doing that, they smell it, they see it. I mean, I use the analogy of like raising kids. If you're raising kids, they will push your buttons as much as they can to see how much they can get away with. These guys are the same way as grown men. They're going to push your buttons as a coach to see how you deal with them. You know, they want to see if you're going to stand up for yourself and actually coach them when they're not playing well and they're not playing hard, or just give them some pointers to continue to help them improve. They want to be pushed, and I think not only is it them pushing, us pushing them as players, but they push us as coaches. When you're dealing with guys like that, they push you to be a better coach. People always say, well, these things happen for a reason. I don't know what the reasons are, but I know that years ago I set out, and again, my mindset was I wanted to be the best at what I do. And I think that is still my mindset to this day. I'm always trying to push myself to continue to evolve as a coach, to be the best coach that I can be, and be, recognized as one of the best coaches out there. And that's what's driving me every day.